Hello and welcome to the Make Money with Mace podcast. I'm your host, Mace, and we're previewing week 11 of the NFL season. So first off, I do want to say had a bit of a bounce back week, 2-1-1. Got the push on for my first push, funnily enough. Been placing a lot of bets and only one push. It's fairly impressive. But one push on the Lions-Chargers game, which, is what it is. Take the fact that it pushed instead of a loss, obviously. And then when the Cowboys cover, the Jets Raiders under, and then I just was completely off when it came to Jacksonville against San Fran. Trent Williams looked a lot healthier than I was anticipating him to look, and obviously that makes a massive difference for that team. So, jumping right into week 11, we've got Cincinnati at Baltimore. It's going to be a weird game because no T. Higgins for the Bengals, and I believe no Trey Hendrickson. I think he's a game-time decision, but that's obviously not a particularly fun matchup for the Bengals and Ravens, obviously. For the Bengals, no T. Higgins, no Trey Hendrickson. The Ravens, no Ronnie Stanley, no Marlon Humphrey, which is really pretty bad. Ronnie Stanley's already been ruled out. Marlon Humphrey's doubtful. And that's your, number one corner and your left tackle missing. So that's really not great when it comes to your offense for Ronnie Stanley especially. And defensively, Ja'Marr Chase has had a lot of success against Baltimore in his career. That's where he had the ridiculous game, 200-yard receiving game. So I think the Bengals might have a slight advantage despite being on the road and the fact that they sort of need this game more, but the Ravens are also really pretty good. It's just a bizarre sort of situation. In terms of a bet, I don't know if I'm going to be placing I might do a player prop on this, Roquan. I'm sure Roquan Smith over for tackles could be pretty interesting. Just taking a look at seeing props, right? Yeah, so it's you see receptions made. I just want to see tackles and assists. Yeah, tackles and assists. Why is Jermaine Pratt over 7.5? That's crazy. I want to see, Roquan. They got him at 9.5 tackles. I don't know what's going on with this. Covers uses it's an aggregator, so they see a lot of zeros and whatever. That isn't necessarily accurate. But Roquan does really well. Ja'Marr Chase over on his receiving yards might do well. Tyler Boyd over on his receptions, something like that. Not entirely sure what I'm going to pick yet, but I'll have something for tomorrow for everybody. If I were to lean anything in this game, unders, under 46. 46 is pretty rich for a Thursday game. I feel as if Thursday games have gone under more than often than not, even if it is a premier matchup on paper. It's just 46. It's a 23-23, and I don't know. Since he can obviously put up points, Baltimore can put up points. There's that familiarity since he has with Baltimore, and they don't do nearly as well against the AFC North as they do the other divisions and teams, so it's something to keep an eye on there. But overall, I'm leaning Cincy a little bit right now. I think they're 4-point dogs. Moneyline's plus 145 if people are into that. I just think that without Ronnie Stanley, the defense can be a lot more aggressive. And with healthy Joe Burrow, we're going to see a different sort of team. Ja'Marr Chase should be solid. I know he's a little dinged up, but since he needs this desperately, or else they'll probably be out of playoff contention, or they have to run the table after this, and they still have games against Kansas City and Jacksonville left, which obviously will be tough. So yeah, weird game. Obviously, major implications playoff-wise, and I'll be looking for a prop or something. But if you want to take Bengals money line at plus 145, I would not turn my nose up to it. Next game, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. So Deshaun Watson is out for the year, and that could be that could be a good thing for the Browns going forward. Obviously, it's not. Just a disaster of a signing, disaster of a plan, disaster of a franchise organization, all of it. And Pittsburgh's got a good defense. Obviously, Pittsburgh in week 2, I believe, beat Cleveland without going within the 30-yard line. And if it weren't for Deshaun Watson being horrific, they would have probably won the game. Now, Dorian Thompson-Robinson's going to have a full week of practice to really like dig into it and probably be pretty good. So I'm not too not too concerned about Cleveland because I think they should still be able to beat Pittsburgh even without Watson. And I think that Pittsburgh is just not particularly good. I'll tell you one thing. The under is probably very likely, but I also wouldn't pass this game to get really stupid. 1 second. Yeah, Pittsburgh has a real chance to get... this game has a chance to get really dumb really quickly. Just with the way Pittsburgh plays and all that stuff. So, it's Pittsburgh +1 or +1.5, depending on the book. And Cleveland, it's hard to trust because with DTR, like, he might just get flustered by the pass rush. He might get flustered by, like, just Pittsburgh showing him stuff that he hasn't really seen before. So, it's a weird game for sure. And I don't really know where to lean. If I were to lean anywhere, it'd probably be the under. It's 33, which is ridiculously low. So never mind. That's like just far too, like in the NFL, when an under is getting that low, you can't take it. Like you just sort of have to take the over. It's just getting too low to take seriously. So yeah. I don't know. You could take the over if you want because, like, think about what 33 points is, right? That's 23-17. That's a pretty common score, even with offense being down because of the amount of rookie quarterbacks and just the cover 2 to prevent the big play has become a very common defensive scheme. And teams are just taking underneath stuff, which obviously you take underneath stuff, you shorten the game because you're throwing it over the middle. You're running more plays. You're not scoring as much as you would if you were taking the top off. So that's why that's the way it is. And obviously defensive athletes are crazy. They're just so far ahead of offensive athletes in right now overall in the NFL. And that's like a different story for another day. But defensive linemen have such a massive advantage over offensive linemen, even if receivers have the advantage over DBs. So yeah, many factors as to why offense is down, but 33 is cartoonishly low. So I would stay away from that number. You could take the over if you want. But in terms of a spread, who knows? The game is going to be nonsense. Arizona at Houston. So Houston is a 5-point favorite, 4.5 on FanDuel, 5 on DraftKings. And I think the hype is really pretty high. Their defense is okay. It's very young. The team is obviously very, very young. CJ's been special. CJ Stroud is projecting to be a very special player in the league for a long time. And I don't see a reason for that to not sort of continue, right? Like, his play should be really good. He should continue to be shown how good he is. I think Arizona is live in this game just because Kyler is live. like he's electric. He just is. Like, it was so much fun having that late window in with Kyler, and it just provides a little spark of joy in the NFL when you have a really good quarterback back there. It's like the Kyler and Jameis made appearances, and the window was so much better and eased the pain of the horrific Patriots loss. So I think this game is going to be really pretty fun, and I think Houston, this is a real test for them. This is like a game on paper. They should win. They should cover. This is like a big-time test for them, and hopefully they pass it. Like, they're very young still. Jonathan Gannon has proven to be a pretty solid head coach, and I think that just with that sort of energy Gannon brings, Arizona tends to keep it close in the first half, and then they fall off. But with Kyler, keeping it close in the first half will put you in position to win games. And we have to remember that Houston did lose to Atlanta. They've lost to Carolina. They've lost some games they probably should have won. So Definitely something to keep an eye on, but maybe CJ just continues to light everybody up, which is very much a possibility. So I could see any of the number being taken, but I think the over is pretty live. 48.5 is a lot. Obviously, you need a game that's like 30 to 20 just to be in that range. But it is live because, again, like I said, Houston's defense isn't particularly good. Arizona has James Conner back. Obviously, Houston's offense has been humming. So we should see a pretty exciting game. It should be fun. Both quarterbacks are good. So excited for that one. Then we get into a game I'm not as excited for, but I expect the Chargers to sort of bludgeon Green Bay. I think the Chargers losing to Detroit the way they lost obviously is not fun for them. It's a tough way to go out. Basically like scoring too quickly and just not seeing the ball for the final 4 minutes of the game. But Detroit is different. They're special. I really like how I really like how they've been playing lately. I think they're just going to continue to play that way. And part of that sort of vibe they have that I really like is that offensively they can do whatever they want. Just in general, you need a special defense to really slow them down. And Eckler's back. Obviously, without Mike Williams, that stinks. But Jalen Guyton's been really good. Obviously, Keenan Allen's been a monster this year, just fantastic. Like return to form, Keenan Allen. Chargers are only 3-point favorites in Lambeau, and I just don't see a world where they don't win this game. They might find a way to lose because they're the Chargers, but I think that's right. Like they should win by a little bit more than 3. I think the Packers are just getting a lot of extra points because it's like, oh, it's the Packers, it's Lambeau. I think the Chargers are a significantly better football team than them. Herbert, at least the Herbert and the offense are at least significantly better. Staley has done a very poor job against competent teams, but he's done well against like low-powered offenses. So we could potentially see something good on that front. And maybe Green Bay just tries to run the ball a lot, which they might be able to do with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon because the Chargers are very soft in the run. But I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't know if I'll put a best bet on it because I've got my eye on some other best bets. Obviously, the slate is a little funky, but keep it going. We've got Tommy DeVito at Washington next. This game stinks. The Commanders should kill them. Will they kill them? Who knows? I would like the Giants to win this game. I don't see a world where they do if Tommy DeVito's the starter. I mean, maybe he gets better. Obviously, the Washington pass rush is non-existent now, and their defense is not particularly good. They've got some players on the second level for sure. I like Jamin Davis a lot. They still have Deron Payne in the middle of that defensive line. Same with Jonathan Allen. And then Kendall Fuller and Cameron Curl have had really good seasons. So I think Washington on the whole should be able to handle the Giants. But the Giants with Tyrod did just beat them pretty soundly. And Wink Martindale was really able to confuse Sam Howell. So maybe Howell's improved from there. But again, I think this is more of a Tommy DeVito and the Giants are cartoonishly bad sort of spread. And I just think that's what it's going to be. So hopefully, for Washington's sake, they continue to see, like, for Washington's sake, you want to see Sam Howell develop and you want to see the receivers do well. You want to see just the offense play well, and the defense is what it is. But that should be enough to cover 9 against, again, Tommy DeVito. I'm just going to keep saying that. The under might be a little live in this. 37? Depends on how much you think Washington's going to score. I think 37. So if, say, like, basically you can't have a game that ends up like 30-14. You can't have any garbage time touchdowns. And I think that's a little hairy because, I mean, they were able to get garbage time. The Giants were able to get garbage time touchdowns against the Cowboys. So it's possible for sure. So I don't know. Weird one. Tennessee at Jacksonville. So Jacksonville's a 7-point favorite. They should win by 7. A line I like is 40 for the over-under. I could see the under hitting in that game. Jacksonville's defense obviously got shown up a little bit, but they get to play another week in Duval against a rookie quarterback and should be able to fluster him. It's weird. I'm going to see what it closes at. I'm going to look more into it like PFF and matchups and that sort of thing, and see if there's any individual matchups that are popping off the page for this game. And with all that being said, I think I might not put anything on it except for maybe I could see the overhitting if Tennessee is able to get Derrick Henry going, get Tajay Spears going, get DeAndre Hopkins going. But that could just be thrown out the window with Jacksonville having a good day defensively and their offense just taking care of business and not really pushing too hard. So that is what I'm thinking for this one. And then we're going to get into my line of games I'm really liking. I love favorites. I love favorites because they do things that make sense. And in this case, I love Detroit hosting the Lions. Oh, Jesus. Sheesh. Detroit hosting the Bears. The Lions hosting the Bears. I think Detroit's going to murder them. And they got better. -8 instead of -10. I know Justin Fields is coming back. That shouldn't really matter, unfortunately, for Justin Fields. He hasn't played a live game in a while. And even though he is athletic, the Lions defense has athletic pieces and players, and that's not the Chargers offense. That's not the Chargers play calling. It's not anything that the Chargers are doing well that the Bears can even emulate to really do damage against Detroit. And Detroit's been one of those defenses where they're able to overwhelm. They're really able to overwhelm less talented offenses, which is really you want to see something like that. So, with that being said, Detroit should bludgeon Chicago, and I imagine that happens. Fields looks worse and worse. Obviously, he breaks his hand. He's coming back from the broken hand. I don't see a world where Detroit eases up. They've pounded some pretty bad teams earlier in the season, and I think they will continue to do that. They beat the hell out of teams, and I'm excited to see it happen. Probably just going to run and wear out Chicago. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking happens in that game. And then we're getting to my next favorite. I love favorites. I do. You don't necessarily make money on them, but man, oh man, it just feels good being like, I believe what I'm seeing. I believe what the numbers are telling me. Everything's making sense. And Miami, with a week off, hosting the Raiders, who the Raiders are, smoking cigars and living on top of the world after beating Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson. Well, they get to face a real team now that's had a week off, extra time to really get after it, prepare. Aiden O'Connell's the starter. And for the Raiders, obviously, and I think that facing Vic Fangio and facing Vic Fangio getting to sort of scheme up and attack the Raiders defense, which again they only really scored against the Giants. They haven't scored more than 20 points against any other team besides the Giants when it came to offensive production. And then defensively, they've only really been able to hold Tommy DeVito and Zach Wilson in check, and Mac Jones in check, and these really, really poor offense. And that was when Buffalo was still functional. And with that being said, I think Miami covers this easy. Miami at home has been a juggernaut. 13.5, 2 touchdowns. Give it to me all day, every day. I think that's just what's going to happen. And it's Miami's just so much better. The DBs are better. Everything about Miami is significantly better than the Raiders, to the point where I think this 13.5 might be too little. So we should see some electricity. I'm hoping for a nice West Coast team traveling east and going, oh, what? Jet lag. So, yeah, we've got that game. Then we've got my next favorite game, Dallas at Carolina. So, Bryce Young has had a rough start to his career, and the reason why that, to me, it's been extra rough is that he has yet to really face a truly great just like I said, a truly great offense or defense yet. Like, he hasn't faced, like, the best defense he's played against is probably the Saints. And even then, the Saints are shaky at times. The Lions have talent on defense, obviously. Like, they're a solid unit. But, man, Dallas is another level. They really are. Their favorite pastime as well is is absolutely throttling teams. They obviously, I'm just looking at this. So they beat, just for reference, in terms of similar tier teams that they've played so far this year, they beat the Giants 40-0 in the Meadowlands. They obviously lost to the Cardinals, got embarrassed, all that stuff. The Jets, they beat 30-10. The Patriots, they beat 38-3. The Rams, they beat 43-20, and the Rams are a lot better than the Panthers. The Rams are not that bad. And then they beat the Giants 49-17. So they love killing bad teams. The Panthers are a bad team. Dallas needs this win badly. I could see another one happening. 10.5 is not enough. I think that this is another Dallas beatdown pretty convincingly too. So that's what I'm going to take. I'm going to ride it till I can't ride it no more. Going to go with some teams that against the spread. Dallas, they're 6-3. They're 6-3 ATS, you know. They when they win, they win. When they lose, they lose. It's nice. They make sense to me. I understand what they are, and they're a team that slaughters bad teams. So love that game. I love a lot of the 1 o'clock slate. So might diversify as we get to the later games. San Fran at Tampa Bay hosting San Fran. San Fran is much better. 12-point favorites. Tampa Bay obviously has been pretty hot and cold. Against Jacksonville, who I believe was a good team. But San Fran is still, I don't know how much I trust them still, even with that win in Jacksonville. I think I want to see them dominate again. I want to see them, like, you know what it is? I want to see them come from truly, like, that's what bugs me about them, is that they have shown no capacity to withstand adversity as a team. They are built to get up on you and just choke you out. And even if they are built to get up on you and choke you out, which is typically like a fine place to live, it's not good when you're losing to PJ Walker and then you lose to a much less talented Vikings team. Then you lose by 2 touchdowns to the Bengals, like in your building. And that's what bugs me about the 49ers, is that you never see them playing. It's okay to be a front runner. I hate when people say, like, oh, you're just a front runner for like a team, describing a team. That's okay. It's a valid way to play the game. Completely valid way to play the game. And they're uber talented, the 49ers, but I just don't know if they have the capacity to play from behind. And we're going to find out a lot about them when they face the Eagles again, I think. Their defense, San Fran's defense, I know they showed up pretty big against Jacksonville, but they've not been the same sort of dominating unit that they were. And I'm hoping to see like a nice complete game from them, like shutting down the run. Not really. I want to see them not rely on turning the ball over to really like show off how good their defense is. I want to just see them smother somebody. So that's what I'm hoping for. Last time these two teams played, I don't know how much it matters. 11.5 is a lot, and Tampa Bay is really pretty respectable. I could see the over hitting 41.5. I know that Tampa Bay doesn't really hit their overs very often, but they've had pretty high overs, just on the whole. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then I'm pretty interested in. Yeah, it's an interesting game. I don't know if I'm going to bet it, but I'm definitely interested in it for sure. And then we've got the other two games in the 4 o'clock window, Seattle and the Rams. It's weird to me that Seattle's only a 1-point favorite on the road. I know that the last time they played, it was what's like the wheel like? So I'm trying to just look. So it seems as if the Rams have sort of dominated them in 21, but there's just been so much turnover. So obviously earlier in the year, the Rams beat them soundly, 30-13. Literally week 1, first week of the season. A lot's changed since then. Matthew Stafford's health is part of that change. Seattle's defense coalescing is part of that change. I just don't know where Seattle is in terms of I think they're a solid unit. I don't know if they're truly like a team that can contend. And if they were a team that could contend, they could go in and beat the Rams. But I don't know. It's a weird one for sure. I think I don't know what to say about this game. It kind of stinks. It doesn't really stink. It's just it's so weird. It's wonky. I don't know what to think of it. I'd say one thing for certain though. If Stafford's not playing, the under's definitely going to hit 46. That's quite a bit. It depends on Stafford's health, absolutely. And he's projected to play based on this line, I would assume. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then we've got Buffalo and New York. I'm taking the under this game. I'm taking the under. These teams do not score. And I know that there's been a lot of hand-wringing regarding... there has been quite a bit of hand-wringing regarding the sort of state of the Buffalo Bills and their offensive coordinator and how, oh my God, the numbers, offensively, their numbers are so good. They're so good, like all this. Part of why their numbers look as good as they do is because they killed 3 teams 3 weeks in a row. They scored 38, 38, 48 in September. And ever since then, they have not been efficient scoring the ball. They are boom or bust. When I tape the under, I'm going to link Brett Coleman. Everyone who listens to me, listen to Brett Coleman talk about football. Just listen to his podcast, Bootleg Football. Watch his videos. He is so knowledgeable, and he is able to present a lot of what I talk about in a digestible manner. Honestly, he's better at it than I am at this point, which he's been doing it a lot longer. So you like that, just in general. He's very, very good at what he's doing. And he made a video about the Buffalo offense and how, because it's either a great drive or it's a 3 and out, they have no consistency offensively. And obviously they just fired Ken Dorsey, but it's on a short week. They played Monday night. They play Monday night, and then they go right to firing their coach, short week, hosting the Jets, who have their number offense. There's not much they can fundamentally change unless they start lining up under center. They need to line up under center to have any sort of success. They just do. It's baffling to me that they do not line up under center nearly as much. They don't seem to have a true identity offensively. And that's a huge issue. So, when I say offensive identity, I think a lot of people are just like, oh, they throw the ball a lot. Oh, they pass the ball a lot. That's not necessarily what I think of when I think of identity as a team, right? The identity of the 49ers is that they use the wide zone scheme and they run wide zone. They are able to run a bunch of different plays off of the same exact look. You don't know if it's play action. You don't know if it's a run play. You don't know what the passing concept's going to be off of it. You don't know where the cutback lane's supposed to be on the run play. There's so much they can do out of just one formation with one way it looks. That's their identity. The identity of the Dolphins is speed, right? They have this speed. They use the motion that no one else was really using. They're able to create that sort of environment where you are so baffled and so concerned over speed that eventually someone's going to be open. And then another example of identity, defensive identity, the Jets. The Jets actually are a great example of defensive identity. They are not a sack-based defense. They are a pressure-based defense where they pressure you from all angles. They're big and powerful up front, and they play coverage so well. Their secondary and linebackers are fantastic in coverage. They really make the quarterback hold onto the ball and hold onto the ball to the point where they have to throw it away, make mistakes, take the check down, and then C.J. Mosley and Quincy Williams are eating it up underneath. And the reason why they have to take the check down is because Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers are just mauling up front. They have a very sound defensive identity. The defensive identity of the 49ers, again, another example. The 49ers are so good because they have a complete identity. They're built off of getting a lead and then a relentless pass rush. Just making sure that that it's not even an option to hold onto the ball and allow plays to develop downfield. The Cowboys defense, that defensive front is monstrous. It's not even like a speed rush. They're not built off. They do everything so well, and it makes the life easier for every aspect of their defense. And so when you have identity on either side of the ball, it makes your life easier as a football team, because then you're so sound in that identity that you just have confidence. It's like real, like energy of belief. And the Buffalo Bills don't have identity they have identity defensively. They're very aggressive. They have a good front. They know they have a very complex blitz game. They blitz. They're aggressive. They're solid on that side of the ball. They have an identity. The offense's identity is non-existent. Sometimes they line up under center and they run the ball effectively, but most of the time they just run the ball out of shotgun when they call up a run play. They go into short yardage situations. They line up in shotgun. They are afraid of running Josh Allen. It's always like a deep shot. They don't dial up rhythm-based throws. They don't dial up plays the way you'd expect a play caller to. And how much, that is Ken Dorsey, obviously, the play caller. He was not doing a good job. And how much will Joe Brady actually improve that when he did a pretty poor job in Carolina? He was, he worked with Sean Payton, then he went to college and worked at LSU. And that sort of, he's not very experienced aside from he worked at LSU where Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson were all playing at the same time. That's such a easy mode. You don't really know much about somebody when that's what their biggest success was playing very well when they're completely overmatching their opponents. So yeah, I don't feel confident in Buffalo whatsoever offensively, even with the change. Not much can change because their offensive roster building has been poor as well. And I think they're a team spiraling, and I don't see the spiral really changing even with a win. I could see it's 39.5. I don't see a world where even the Jets aren't going to score points. That's not what they're about. So the Jets are probably going to play very poorly, and Buffalo is going to be held in check by a very solid offense, and the under is going to hit. That is what it is. The Sunday night game, I'm going to take the over in the Sunday night game. We might have 5 bets today. We might have 5 bets this week. I'm taking the over 43, 42.5. Give it to me. Give it to me. They are we got some fun. That's a really fun game. It really is. Denver is playing much better offensive football lately. They just are. And then Minnesota obviously has been really fun. So I'm excited to see that game. I'm going to take the over, and at 42.5. Again, can we get 22-21? That's all we're looking for. And I think that's very possible with these offenses. They're very solid. And then Monday night football is a great game. I'm going to take the under because Kansas City is 2-7. in the over-under, and I don't see them all of a sudden changing all that much off a bye. It is Andy Reid off a bye, 2.5-point favorite in Arrowhead, which matters. It does. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking this week. I think it's gonna be a fun week. I think it should be good. Lots of fun to be had for sure, and I think it'll be a fun week. I think like we're sort of figuring out who the teams are this week. Like who teams have identities now. It's good. Life's making sense. So that's what I'm feeling, and should be a fun week. Gonna dip into some college right now. So my best bet tonight was goddamn Miami of Ohio to cover a 7.5-point spread. And right now, I want to see top 25. I want to see the MAC. I've got Gamecast up. They are driving. It's 13-10. It's 3rd and 4 on their own 48. We do have like the whole fourth quarter, so I'm not too concerned. They should just run the game away. They've been playing ball control. We just hope to get a touchdown. Just help somebody out here. Just get a touchdown. So yeah, and then we've got this is the week before the week, like because obviously next weekend is the big rivalry games and everything. So it's pretty thin college betting wise. I think like Michigan and Maryland, that's a weird one. Maryland's pretty feisty. Rutgers, Penn State, that's some sicko football. I'm here for that. Rutgers it's Penn State's 20.5-point favorite. That's too much. Far too many points. BYU, Oklahoma, yeah, Ole Miss, ULM, App State, JMU. App State, JMU is the game of the week. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take JMU in that one. Just going down the line, Utah, Arizona. That might be the game. I think that's the game. I think that's what I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on. Duke, UVA, not too bad. Tennessee, Georgia. 10-point favorite. Probably going to bet on that one. UNC, Clemson. Clemson's a 7-point favorite. Might take the over in that one, 58. UNC's been doing the whole going over thing. Oh, we've got my darling Angels, the Iowa Hawkeyes. I might take UNC money line, honestly. They're 8-2. I know Clemson's played 2 weeks much better, back to back. But I don't know. I think UNC is just better. Obviously, they did lose to Georgia Tech as a favorite. They did lose to Virginia as a big favorite. Like, they have those on their thing. However, I think they are a better team than Clemson this year. Drake May can just win games on his own. So I like that money line, plus 210. That's a good money line. And just looking at Illinois, Iowa. Like I said, my absolute darlings, my Angels. Going to take the under, 30.5. Easy money. Oregon, ASU. That's a nothing burger. Yeah, it's a weird week. Kansas, Kansas State. That's going to take that one. Going to take Kansas State. Thank you very much. That's the game. I think that's really it, though. It's like a pretty thin Mizzou, Florida. I think Mizzou is going to win that game pretty handily. Might grab the over on that sucker. Yeah, I've got a couple days to think about my college bets, so gonna work on that one. I have an answer for the people for sure. So yeah, that's what I'm getting in, at. NBA bets been going well. Obviously 5-3 on those now. Gonna hope the Celtics win. That'd be nice. Obviously, no Jaylen Brown and Kristaps. Honestly, no Kristaps is more important than no Jaylen Brown. Gonna need Tatum to take over in the fourth quarter against the Sixers, which he's capable of doing, obviously. So, Going to be catching the end of that as Derek White hits a 3-pointer. I'm looking at Gamecast right now as I'm recording, because when you try to put on Watch ESPN and it's a local market, they go, oh, you're in your local market. And, just going to be hoping for the best on this Celtics game. So that's going to be it for the pod. Again, like, subscribe, share, all that great stuff. And just, peace. Thanks for listening.